videos that are going to make you rethink everything. Let's just start.
What I've realized as I've become an adult is that African homes raise you to have low self-esteem. They raise you to be shy. They raise you to be timid. They raise you to fear authority. They raise you to not question. They raise you to shut down your critical thinking. They raise you to just become subservient and obedient. So they shut you down at home. You go to school, they do the same thing. You go to church, they do the same thing. And you wonder why now at 21 or now at 30, you don't know what you want to do with your life. It's because all your life, nobody ever allowed you, gave you room, gave you space to figure out what you want for yourself. Nobody gave you room to exercise your autonomy. Nobody gave you the right to exercise your personal agency. Any move on your end to do that is regarded as rebellion. You are dishonoring your parents. You are dishonoring your pastors. Right? You are sinning. If you just step out of line, and it's not a surprise. It's no surprise that a lot of young people do not even know what they want to do with their lives. You get to a point where you're like, I want to succeed, I want to matter. But you don't know what that looks like. They ask you, what do you want to do with your life? You still don't know. It's not your fault. Nobody gave you room to use your brain to think, to figure out what you truly want for yourself, to even know who you are. When you are not saying, yes, daddy, yes, mommy, at home, yes, daddy, yes, mommy, in church, yes, sir, yes, ma, in school. You literally live all your life shrinking and hiding as much as possible, trying to stay out of trouble. That is all you expend your energy doing. You never have the energy, the room to thrive, the space, the expansion to embody the reality of who you are. You are not allowed to individuate. You're not allowed to individuate, either as a teenager or as an adult. And that's why sometimes when you look back, you cannot really even pinpoint what you did in your teenage years, because everything was a blur from infancy to teenagehood to adulthood. It was all a blur. You lived under the shadows of your parents, under the shadows of your caregivers, under the shadows of pastors and leaders in church, under the shadows of lecturers and whatnot. Everybody told you what to do. You had laid down instructions that you followed. And now that you are out of school, you are disoriented because that now this is the first time in your life that nobody's telling you what to do. And you're like, what the heck am I supposed to do? Unfortunately, expectations are now high. Everyone is looking at you like you're an adult, but internally you still feel like a child. You're still waiting on somebody to give you an instruction to tell you what to do.
Crazy.
You're just raising robots and slaves who know how to receive instructions well. You're not raising actual fully functional human beings who can utilize the power of their mind to create what they are looking for, to create the world that they love to live in, to create their desired reality. Everything is really stacked against you from birth till now. It's unfortunate.
Petrified pregnant giant.
Olhando assim, parece uma mulher deitada, uma raiz de uma árvore. Vocês acreditam?
Modern day cannibalism still exists, y'all. This shit is sick and twisted, y'all. And it's coming straight from Harvard Medical School. The morgue. This manager of the morgue at Harvard Medical School was selling body parts, y'all. So they got a place where bodies get donated for science and to help future doctors learn how to save lives. But instead of doing that, these motherfuckers out there cutting, dissecting the body, different parts, and selling them junks like it's on Craigslist. Not just him. Look at her too. She trying to cover her face like, nah, you sick. This is twisted. Y'all, imagine you donated a body there thinking they finna do research on it and what they said, help doctors be able to figure out how to save lives and do all this other stuff. And next thing you know, their body parts is being cut up, cut out, and then shipped across America to different people who bought the body parts. Cause that's what they was doing. They said they was shipping these body parts across state lines, y'all. They said they even had people come to the joint and pick out what body part they wanted. Pulled up to the Harvard Medical School, the morgue, and picked what body they wanted. Cash in hand. You really can't make this up right now. I know it's people that's just fucked up in the head because they sent probably their loved ones over there to get research done on them, and now they don't even know if one of their loved ones is the ones who body parts were sold. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts on this down below in the comments. This shit is sad and wicked.
Maybe sin isn't what we thought. Maybe we're not broken. Maybe God sees us as already good. Maybe sin isn't what we thought. Maybe we're not broken. Maybe God sees us as already good. Maybe sin isn't what we thought. Maybe we're not broken. Maybe God sees us as already good. Because in the Bible, God said it was good after he created us. So what if there is no hell? And what if heaven is right now?
Everything you just watched was AI, artificial intelligence. None of it was real. That's where our world is going to. Guys, be extremely careful when you're online.
It looks so real.
There are false teachers everywhere, and now they're doing it through AI. And even what they were saying was completely unbiblical. Be careful, guys. AI is starting to take over.
Wow. So check this out. Go ahead and type in Soylent Green in your search bar there on TikTok and dive in. This one is I don't even know what to say about this one. They're actually being investigated somewhere on this. I don't trust the organization that's investigating because we know how corrupt they are. I won't even mention their names here. But this one is gross. I don't even know what to say about this. I am just diving in. Would love to know y'all's opinion down below in the comments section on Soylent Green. Good luck. It's a nasty one.
What if I told you they genuinely aren't? None of you are seeing the world, and this is scientifically proven. If you don't want to freak the hell out after watching this, just keep scrolling. On the electromagnetic spectrum, our eyes can only see visible light, which is this tiny bit here, 0.0035% of the whole spectrum. So we are blind to over 99% of what is actually going on in the world, and this is a fact. Now you also may or may not know there is a hole in the back of your eyeball where the optic nerve exits the eye. Now this is where it's crazy because yeah, if there was a hole in the back of your eye, you'd see holes everywhere, right? Well, your mind fills in the blanks with memory, so it's basically just creating it from your mind. So everything you see isn't necessarily as real as you think it is, because there's a part of reality, the light spectrum that we can all see, but a lot of what you see is being interpreted and made up by your mind to simply fill in the blanks. It of course links into the solipsism theory that I've spoken about before, where you are the only person alive, no one around you, me, no one is real, but your mind is filling in the blanks, creating these people so you don't feel so lonely and have an existential crisis. It's similar with hearing as well though, like we do not have good hearing compared to other animals and creatures. There's only a tiny fraction we can hear and the rest of it we are completely deaf to. So the life we're experiencing is just a heavily filtered, potentially fake version of what is actually going on.
This begs the question, why exactly are we borrowing in a currency that we print ourselves? I'm waiting for someone to stand up and say, why do we borrow our own currency in the first place?
Like you said, they print the dollar, so why does the government even borrow?
Well, again, some of this stuff gets, some of the language that some of the language and concepts are just confusing. I mean, the government definitely prints money, and it definitely lends that money, which is why the government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by selling bonds. Is that what they do? They sell bonds. Yeah, they sell bonds, right? Because they sell bonds and people buy the bonds and lend them the money. Yeah. So a lot of times, at least to my ear with MMT, the language and the concepts can be kind of unnecessarily confusing, but there is no question that the government prints money and then it uses that money to yeah, I guess I can't really talk. I don't get it. I don't know what they're talking about. Like, cause it's like the government clearly prints money. It does it all the time and it clearly borrows. Otherwise we wouldn't be having this debt and deficit conversation. So I don't think there's anything confusing there.
So there's a lot to unpack here. Of course, everybody knows and should be able to articulate that the United States government does not actually print money. It does not print cash. When the supply of cash increases, so does inflation. Money printing fuels inflation. It is a direct relationship. And we learned that very well a couple of years ago, thanks to stimulus checks and the PPP program that was available for small businesses here in the United States. Instead of printing cash, the United States government actually sells its debt to borrow money. Who buys it? Well, until recently, foreign governments and investors considered U.S. treasuries to be the safest investment. That has changed, of course, and is no longer the case, and that is the main problem. What will happen if the United States government cannot find enough buyers to purchase its debt? If there are no buyers willing to lend money, the government that's running massive budget deficits won't be able to operate. Just like you and I, we cannot live if we spend more than what we make every single month. It doesn't work that way. Eventually, we'll go bankrupt. So the United States government desperately needs buyers.
This lady is absolutely nasty as hell for what she does with her husband's 15-year-old son.
I seen this.
Dude, this is super
It's the nurse, right? Or
yes,
something like that?
she was a nurse.
Bro.
Apparently, this happened last year, and it was in Florida. Her name was Alexis Von Yates, and she was married to this dude for about like 6 years. One day, the husband, pretty much his son, was supposed to be coming down to like stay and visit him for a little bit, right? Because I think he like lives with his mom. So he comes down, and at that time, the dad had to end up working, so he was gonna be working late one night. So he ends up going to work. She was like, yeah, it's all good, like pretty much I'll babysit. They hang out, they're at the crib, they're like playing games, and then they end up watching a movie towards the end of the night. And as they're watching a movie, she randomly tells this kid, you know, I haven't had sex in 2 weeks.
Whoa.
Straight up. She tells bruh's son that, and he's 15, mind you. She's like 35 or 36. Little bruh's probably like, what the heck? Like, why are you telling me this? It's super weird. The dad ends up coming home, and he catches them doing it on the couch. Wow. And he instantly is like, what the hell is going on here? And this is what she has to tell him. She said, you can't blame me because that's probably what you looked like when you were younger.
That's insane.
He ends up taking his son to like the grandma's house and drops him over there. Later on that night, she still ends up texting his son and tells his son, I wish we didn't get caught.
That's crazy, bro.
I swear to you, bro.
This is everything that happened on the news today, but it's going to be simplified in 60 seconds. These are now officially the world's first ever gene-edited spiders that produce red silk. Hey, can we maybe not create new species of spiders in a lab? Because I literally don't think that anybody asked for that. This psychologist is now revealing BIZZARE phone habit, which can help you instantly spot a narcissist. Okay. So basically, there's a list of symptoms that could be associated with being a narcissist, so if you want to pause and read them, here they are. The infamous man is now issuing a ruthless threat to Apple if iPhones aren't made in the US moving forward, so that's crazy. Basically, the threat is that he's going to put a 25% tariff on Apple products unless they start making them in the United States. And then if Apple doesn't listen to that ruthless threat, the iPhones could be starting to cost $3,500 each. I can guarantee you that you've probably never seen this before, but this is what a cow looks like after it's been shampooed and blow dried, so you're welcome. This new study is now revealing that mosquitoes actually prefer to bite people that have type O blood over people that have type A or B. And I can't believe I'm about to admit this publicly, but I literally do not know what type blood I have. I've been seeing this blow up all over social media, but Netflix is now going to be officially releasing the Ocean Gate documentary on June the 11th. I give you these news roundups every day, so make sure you add me and come back to me tomorrow.
It's amazing how they literally put the truth right in front of your face in 2025, and still people just completely forget about what they just showed you. Think about this, right? These robots and these masks, by the way, and don't forget that they are decades, literal decades farther. I mean, what we could even believe that they have, and now they're showing us this while they have artificial intelligence, artificial general intelligence going on. These masks and all the weird things we've been seeing on the TV lately, you know, the really weird wrinkles in the neck and just weird creases in the face that should not be there. It's pretty crazy, right? And of course, this is all for entertainment, but wait till you see the end on just how amazing it looks. and entertainment. But what if these things are all over the place in front of us on this TV and we just had no idea? Also, we only ever see the front of these people as well. Just throwing that out there for no reason at all.
Did you ever hear the story of that girl that didn't want to go bungee jumping, but her boyfriend managed to convince her to go bungee jumping, and they had to climb to the top of this like mountain hill type thing, and the whole time they were arguing, all the passers-by, they're all like, yeah, they were really going for it. It was obvious that she didn't want to go, she was scared. But they get to the top, and somehow her boyfriend, he convinces her to stand over the edge to the point where they're going to jump. She's standing on the edge and they harness her up. They put the harness on, they tighten it. Then they put the boyfriend's harness on and they tighten it. And the guy's probably running through all the safety aspects of the jump, and she's probably barely listening because she's so scared. And then eventually they get them standing right near the edge, and then her eyes are closed and she's probably again whimpering, barely listening. And the man says, jump. And they both jump. And then there's screams. Everyone's screaming because he was talking to the boyfriend. He wasn't talking to her. Her bungee cord wasn't attached. It was only her boyfriend's that was attached. I wonder at what point she wasn't attached to anything. My boyfriend said at some point
So
she went
catastrophic.
unconscious. So she was screaming and then she went unconscious and the screaming stopped, and that was way before she hit the floor. And I also saw in another account that they said she'd had a heart attack, and so she would have been dead before she hit the floor regardless of if she was attached or not. And that is why I will never bungee jump, and why I will never be told what to do by a man.
Stop using public restrooms. Stop it. Use protection if you're going out, even being intimate with a person you just met, or even with your partner for that matter. You know, there's a STD out there called diabetes. And what this STD does is it's a flesh-eating STD. And more than 100,000 people in Texas are infected with this, not to mention New Mexico and Louisiana. So what it does, it starts out as a bump in either women or men. And that little bump, if it's a woman, will start from the outside. Your flesh will start falling from the outside to the inside. On a man, it's different. On the male part, that actual bump develops on the inside. And it starts eating the flesh and the tissue from the inside to the outside. So yeah, just stay protected. I'll put some info up here so you guys can look it up. But it's worth it, guys. Stay protected.
These children are not children at all. They were not put here for you to sacrifice, and this child didn't ask to come here, so I will sacrifice my life for the child. Don't be a fool. The child was here because it is here to teach you, and you're here to teach it. You can both learn. You're not here to sacrifice. Your life is too precious. Both of you are supposed to understand it may be your worst enemy that is now born amongst you. And it may be your best friend. It may have been your husband or wife. It is not at all a new soul, because any soul coming in since 1985, really I would say 1980, is an old soul. They are here to fight, but in a way that you don't even understand. They are here to reawaken you, to help get guidance, and they all must be centered. You cannot leave those souls alone. They did not come here to be left alone. If you leave them alone, they will come into the maturity of the animal body and they will fight and kill. They have done it before, they will do it again.
I mean, Bill Gates is demonically possessed. That's an alien.
I'm not convinced that he's a human being. He doesn't give me that vibe.
That's why you look at him, and I've seen what David Icke talks about when people sit there and their eyes go black.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it. And, it just, they get taken over. I mean, Bill Gates is not a human. It's his cells, he's there, but no, he's an alien. He's like a gremlin model.
This proves that God is real, and it has to deal with clothing. The Bible says not to mix fabrics, and modern science says that it could mess with your hormones. Leviticus 19:19 says, do not wear clothing woven of two kinds of materials. It sounds random, but I promise you it's not. Fabrics have measurable frequencies. Linen and wool, they both have a frequency of around 5,000 hertz. It's high and it's healing, but when mixed, their frequencies can cancel out. Now, whenever you add in synthetics like polyester, things begin to get worse. Synthetic fabrics don't just mess with your energy, but they can actually disrupt your hormones. polyester, and nylon are made with petroleum-based chemicals, and some of them act like estrogen in your body. Did you know that your skin absorbs up to 60% of what it touches? And these chemicals can mess with your mood, your sleep, your fertility, and your thyroid. God wasn't being strict, he was being protective. Ancient people didn't know about frequencies or hormone disruptors, but God did. His command to not mix fabrics. It's proof that he's real, he's wise, and he's still way ahead of science. So if he's right about clothes, what else is he right about? Maybe it's time to trust him, not just with what you wear, but with how you live your life. If you want more truth, be sure to follow now.
When you start to do what the Lord wants you to do, life starts to get very witchy. The people around you, they're going to start to feel very witchy. Their actions, it's going to be very witchy. I don't like to use that term, but there's no other word that I can use to explain it other than it's a strange, weird energy that people allow themselves to get stuck in over time. So if people aren't doing the self-work, if they're not taking care of their health over time, after being in this vessel for 50 or 60 years, they allow themselves to be given over to the spirit of Satan. Now, the spirit of Satan isn't necessarily a person. It's not a person, but it is the opposite of love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness. Most people, if they are in anything other than in a state of peace, they are going to be in a state of anger, wrath, jealousy. This is the state of the Satan. The more you wake up, the more you start to see the Satan, the spirit of Satan, working in your fellow co-workers, family members, friends, etc. And you're like, man, Satan, you are so crafty in what you do, but now that I see you, you are never going to be able to enter this kingdom again. And this is the mindset that you have to have in order to deliver not only yourself, but eventually your family as well. Because it's this familiar spirit, which is also the spirit of Satan, that's working in yourself, your family, as well as your friend. So remember, you are who you hang around. If you are hanging around people who are just negative, or they are always doing the opposite of love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, that means that these people, they have not gotten delivered yet. Now, we all need to get delivered, even after we get delivered. But if we haven't started the process of getting delivered, because this kind only leaves by fasting and prayer, Matthew 17:21, we can't just do whatever we want and think that we don't have to fast from the things of the world. The outcome is going to be a reprobate mind. Now, do you have to do a 3-day or a 30-day fast? No, but you should be fasting consistently 12 to 24 hours a day, no more than 12 to 14 hours a day for women. This is because fasting puts your body through the refiner's fire, gets rid of all the impurities or the toxins that are trapped in your body, preventing your soul from being able to and yes, it's a real thing. You have to take care of your physical temple so that your spiritual temple is able to, exist. I am, right? I am not where the world is. I don't mean to go 3 minutes on the video, but it is an important topic to understand and to know and be still. And that's why we made you all the Health Bible. Everything that you need and need to know is going to be available at jacobslink.com. We'll hit the link in the bio.
And we've come to the end of today's video. It's raining, I don't know if you can hear, but yeah, it's a good time to create the video as well. Good videos. I learned a lot, and I loved the first video. It was so accurate, so accurate. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share the link. Bye.